owe it to you in 2025. Walks to center stage. 2025 is not just another year on the calendar. It's your year. Not because it's going to hand you something on a silver platter, but because you are going to rise up and claim what's been yours all along. You owe it to you. You owe it to the version of yourself that survived the storms, that crawled through the pain, that doubted but kept going anyway. You owe it to the version of you that said, one more day. Just give me one more chance. This is that chance. Let me be crystal clear. You do not owe the world your silence. You do not owe your past the final word. You do not owe your fears the driver's seat of your life. But you do owe yourself the truth. And the truth is this: your potential is not gone, not buried, not lost. It's right there, under the excuses, under the waiting, under the story you've been telling yourself about why now isn't the time. 2025 is the time. Right now is the time. You've got one life, one shot. And whether you're 20 or 60, rich or broke, broken or healing, it's not too late. But you have to decide that you matter enough to fight for. You have to decide that your goals are not optional. Your dreams aren't hobbies. They're callings, that voice in your gut that says, there's more. I'm meant for more. It's right, but it doesn't come easy. You know that. If it were easy, everyone would live their dream. Everyone would be fulfilled. Everyone would wake up on fire. But most people don't. There's so many things. Most people don't. If your goals, most people sleepwalk through their lives, too afraid to offend their doubts, too comfortable in chaos, too in love with certainty to chase greatness. Not you, not anymore. Because if you don't demand more from yourself now, if you don't bet on you now, then when? You owe it to you to show up this year. Not halfway, not kinda, not when it's convenient. Every single day, even when you're tired, even when no one's clapping, even when the voices in your head scream you're not ready. That's when you lean in and say, watch me. You owe it to yourself to stop negotiating with fear, to stop waiting for permission, to stop apologizing for dreaming big. This year, you don't shrink to fit. You rise to serve. You expand to lead. You evolve to inspire. Let them doubt you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them walk away. This is your race, your fire, your legacy. And you owe it to yourself not to waste another damn second. Let 2025 be the year you stop playing defense. Let this be the year you unleash. You owe it to the kid in you that dreamed. You owe it to the elder in you that will one day look back. And most of all, you owe it to the you standing right here, right now, heart pounding, eyes open, soul ready. So what are you waiting for? Go, claim. You owe it to you in 2025. Exit with purpose. You owe yourself the truth, not your fears, not your past. This is where everything begins. Before you chase the dream, before you build the vision board, before you step into the arena of change, you must first face the truth. Not the story you've been telling yourself, not the version that's been edited to make you feel safe, the raw, honest, unfiltered truth. The one that stares back at you when there are no distractions, no noise, no applause, just you, alone with your reality. Too often we shape our identity around fear. We let fear become the narrator of our lives. It tells us we're not ready. It tells us we're not good enough, smart enough, talented enough. And over time, we begin to believe it. We internalize it. We carry it like a backpack full of bricks into every decision we make. But fear is a liar. Fear is clever. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It sounds reasonable. It sounds protective. It tells you to wait a little longer. It tells you to keep your head down until everything is perfect. But perfection is a prison, and waiting is a slow death. You don't owe your fear a thing. It's been loud long enough. It's had its hand on the wheel for too many miles. This year, it's time you reach over, grab the wheel, and say, I'm driving now. Fear can sit in the back seat and watch you build the life you were meant to live. Because truth and fear don't live in the same house. One always has to go. You also don't owe your past an explanation. What happened before today is a chapter, not a sentence. And the past loves to pretend it has the final word. It wants to convince you that your mistakes are permanent, that your failures define you, that the person you were is the person you'll always be. That's not truth. That's residue. That's emotional dust from moments that already ended. And yet, many of us walk around chained to our old selves, stuck in shame and regret, in guilt, as if carrying that pain is somehow noble. But pain is not a punishment, and healing is not betrayal. You are allowed to outgrow your past. You are allowed to forgive yourself. You are allowed to evolve into someone that your old self wouldn't recognize. In fact, that's the goal. Growth isn't supposed to look familiar. And if your life still looks like the one you had when you were surviving instead of living, then you haven't started telling the truth yet. Telling yourself the truth means admitting what you really want. Not what you think you should want, not what others expect from you, but what you deep in your gut crave to become. For some people, that truth is terrifying because it requires change, it requires risk. It requires shedding identities and roles and expectations that feel safe. But safety is not the same as fulfillment. And if you're playing small just to stay safe, you're robbing yourself of the life you could be living. The truth might make you uncomfortable, but it will never make you weak. In fact, truth is strength. Truth is clarity, truth is power. And when you stop lying to yourself about who you are, what you want, and what you're capable of, you become unstoppable. You don't need 100 strategies or 10-step formulas or someone else's blueprint. You need one thing: honesty. Honesty about the way you've been showing up. Honesty about the habits that are stealing your future. Honesty about the relationships that drain you. Honesty about the ways you've been betraying yourself for approval, for comfort, for tradition. Somewhere inside you is a version that's not afraid to tell the truth. That version has been watching, waiting, ready to take over. But you have to invite it forward. You have to get still long enough to hear it. You have to stop numbing and distracting and busying yourself with things that keep you disconnected from who you really are. Because the truth isn't loud. It doesn't fight for attention. It waits patiently for you to come home to it. Coming home to your truth is the most powerful thing you can do in 2025. Because when you live in truth, you stop chasing validation, you stop comparing your journey, you stop negotiating your worth. You walk into rooms differently, you speak with purpose, you act with conviction. You don't need to impress, you just need to express. 2025 is your moment to stop waiting and start claiming. There comes a point in every person's life when they realize that waiting is no longer a strategy. Waiting for the right time, waiting for the motivation, waiting for the fear to go away, waiting for the money, the perfect relationship, the ideal conditions. But time doesn't stop while you wait. The days keep moving, the clock keeps ticking, and life doesn't pause for you to feel ready. Readiness is not something you stumble into. It's something you declare. The world doesn't respond to people who are thinking about it. It doesn't open doors for those who hesitate, who sit on the edge of their dreams hoping the wind will push them forward. The world responds to energy, to momentum, to the ones who claim their space and say, I'm here and I'm ready to take what's mine. That energy, that fire is what separates the average from the exceptional. And that fire doesn't come from waiting. It comes from deciding. The world doesn't respond to people who are thinking about it. It doesn't open doors for those who hesitate, who sit on the edge of their dreams, hoping the wind will push them forward. The world responds to energy, to momentum, to the ones who claim their space and say, I'm here and I'm ready to take what's mine. That energy, that fire, is what separates the average from the exceptional. And that fire doesn't come from waiting. It comes from deciding. This year, you've got to stop acting like your goals are optional. Like your dreams are some luxury you'll get around to one day. One day is a myth. One day is a thief. It robs you of what could be, replacing it with what might never come. You've already spent too much time on hold, too much time preparing, planning, analyzing every move. Action beats perfection every time. You don't need the full map. You need to take the first step and trust that the road will rise to meet your feet. Claiming 2025 means looking at your life and saying, this is mine to build. No more blaming the economy, your upbringing, your ex, your boss, or your past. Because while all those things may explain where you've been, they don't get to decide where you're going. Ownership is the fuel of transformation. And the moment you take full ownership, not partial, not conditional, but full, that's when everything begins to shift. Too many people are waiting for a sign, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to say, now's the time. But you are the sign. You are the permission. You are the answer you've been hoping would come knocking. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to force you to chase your potential. This is your life, your responsibility, your opportunity to show up like never before. 2025 doesn't owe you anything, but you owe it to yourself to stop playing defense and start playing offense. That means you stop reacting and start creating. You stop wishing and start working. You stop letting circumstances dictate your energy and start showing up like your future depends on it. Because it does. It's not enough to have ambition. Everyone has ambition. What matters is execution. What matters is showing up when it's boring, when it's tough, when no one's watching. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's the difference maker. And the people who succeed this year will be the ones who stop flirting with potential and start committing to progress. One day at a time. One decision at a time. It's time to stop shrinking to fit into a life that doesn't challenge you. It's time to step out of the comfort zone you've mistaken for security. Comfort is addictive, but growth is magnetic. And the life you want, the one you think about when your head hits the pillow at night, doesn't exist inside the boundaries of your current habits. You have to expand. You have to stretch. You have to put yourself in rooms, situations, and conversations that make you uncomfortable because they force you to level up. Claiming 2025 means being intentional with every moment. It means being ruthless with distractions, with excuses, with anything that pulls you away from who you're becoming. It means saying no more often. No to habits that numb you. No to people who drain you. No to opportunities that pull you off track. Because every yes you give is a vote for the future you're building, and you only get so many votes. This is the year you stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what if it does? What if the risk is worth it? What if the hard conversations open the door? What if the pain leads to purpose? What if all this time, everything you needed was already inside you, waiting for you to move? You weren't born to live life on pause. You weren't built to drift. You were designed to create, to lead, to impact, to rise. And nothing about that will happen while you sit in the waiting room of your own life, hoping someone calls your name. Your dreams are callings, not hobbies. Treat them like it. There's a massive difference between a wish and a calling. A wish is something you think about when life slows down, when you have a quiet moment, when you're daydreaming about the life you want. A calling is different. A calling won't let you sleep. A calling pulls at you, tugs at your heart, refuses to be silenced. Your calling is the voice that keeps showing up even when you try to ignore it. Even when life gets noisy. Even when everyone around you tells you to play it safe. Your calling isn't a coincidence. It's not random. It's the clearest signal of who you're meant to become and how you're meant to serve. But so many people treat their calling like a hobby, like it's a side project, like it's optional, like it can wait. They work on it when they feel inspired. They pick it up and put it down depending on their mood, their schedule, their level of convenience. They invest more time in things that numb them than in things that ignite them. And then they wonder why life feels flat, why success feels out of reach, why they're always stuck in the same cycle. Is because you can't get full-time results from part-time commitment. Your calling doesn't need you to be perfect. It doesn't need you to have it all figured out. It just needs you to show up every single day with discipline, with respect, with the mindset that this matters, because it does. It matters more than you know. It's not just about the outcome. It's about the person you become in the process of chasing it. You become more focused, more resilient, more intentional, more alive. You stop settling. You stop blaming. You stop waiting for things to change and start becoming the change. When you treat your dream like a hobby, you send a message to yourself and to the world that it's not a priority. And if it's not a priority to you, why should it be a priority to anyone else? The opportunities you want, the partnerships you hope for, the breakthroughs you imagine, they don't come to the passive. They come to the prepared, to the bold, to the ones who act like their dream is not a cute idea, but a life-altering mission. This isn't about hustle for the sake of hustle. It's about devotion. It's about aligning your time, your habits, your energy, and your choices with what actually matters to your soul. If you've got a dream that burns inside you, that vision isn't there to tease you. It's there to lead you. But you can't keep putting it at the bottom of your to-do list, behind things that don't build you, that don't grow you, that don't move the needle. You have to protect it like it's sacred, because it is. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack respect for the process. They quit when it gets hard. They show up only when it's easy. They treat their dream like a phase instead of a purpose. And purpose demands everything. It demands late nights, early mornings, tough conversations, hard decisions. It demands you to grow in ways you didn't expect and confront parts of yourself you've tried to avoid. You don't owe your dream comfort. You owe it commitment. If it truly is a calling, you have to make room for it. You have to fight for it. You have to be willing to look foolish, to be misunderstood, to stand alone if that's what it takes. The world may not understand your calling. That's fine. It wasn't meant for them. It was meant for you. You're the one who feels it. You're the one who can see it even when no one else does. So stop looking for external validation. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that your dream is worth it. It's worth it because you feel it. It's worth it because it lights you up. It's worth it because it came to you for a reason. You've been given a spark, a vision, a purpose. And that's not a mistake. That's an assignment. That's a responsibility. When you treat your dream like a calling, you show up like it matters. You build structure around it. You develop skill. You honor the time. You say no to what doesn't align. You stop being casual about what you're meant to do and start being courageous about it. Because dreams don't thrive in neglect. They thrive in focus. They thrive in effort. They thrive in the belief that you were put here not just to exist, but to build something. Something real. Something lasting. Something that reflects the fire inside you that refuses to die. Show up every day, especially when it's hard. There's a myth that success is built on talent alone. that the people who rise to the top have something special the rest of us don't. But the truth is far more raw. It's built on consistency. Showing up over and over when the excitement is gone, when motivation disappears, when no one's clapping, when the rewards aren't visible yet. It's easy to show up when things are going well, when you feel strong, when the path is clear. But the defining moments come on the days when it's hard, when it's messy, when doubt creeps in and nothing feels certain. That's where most people tap out. But that's also where real growth happens. Showing up every day doesn't mean giving 100% every single time. It means being present, being committed, being willing to take one step forward, even if that step feels small. Progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's showing up to the gym even when your body aches. It's opening the laptop even when your mind is tired. It's having the tough conversation even when your voice shakes. That kind of daily courage compounds. It builds resilience. It strengthens your identity. You begin to trust yourself, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. There will be days when your mind screams for comfort, when your emotions pull you in the direction of quitting, when the work feels heavy, the path feels endless, and you question why you started. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign that you're in the middle of transformation. Discomfort is part of the process. You don't evolve in convenience, you evolve in resistance. You find out what you're made of when you stop negotiating with difficulty and start leaning into it. People often say they want change, but they wait for the perfect conditions before they move. They wait to feel inspired, to feel ready, to feel certain. But the truth is, action comes before clarity. Discipline comes before motivation. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never build anything meaningful. Feelings are temporary, standards are permanent. When you raise your standard to show up regardless of how you feel, you begin to develop a level of internal power that nothing external can shake. Every day you show up, even when it's hard, you're proving to yourself that you can be relied on, that your word means something, that your commitment isn't tied to convenience. That kind of integrity is rare. It's what separates leaders from followers, builders from dreamers, finishers from starters. You're not always going to feel like it, but feelings are not your guide. Your vision is. And your vision doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care how discouraged you are. It just asks, are you willing to show up again today? The people who create powerful change in their lives aren't the ones who had fewer challenges. They're the ones who made fewer excuses. They're the ones who didn't let their bad days become permanent stories. They didn't let failure define them. They didn't let setbacks stop them. They didn't rely on motivation to carry them. They built habits, systems, routines, anchors that held them in place when the storms came. Because storms will come. You don't get to avoid the hard, you just get to decide how you'll respond. What if you decided that the hard days are the most important ones? What if you saw every tough moment as a chance to build endurance, to develop grit, to prove that you don't need everything to be easy in order to stay in the game? That mindset changes everything. It turns obstacles into opportunities. It turns resistance into fuel. It turns today, no matter how chaotic or difficult, into a day that moves you forward. You don't rise by waiting for life to hand you energy. You rise by creating it. By walking into each day like it matters. By saying, no matter what happens today, I'm going to do something that honors who I want to become. Some days it'll be big, bold moves, clear wins. Other days it might be one good decision, one tough choice, one moment of strength when quitting felt easier. But every day matters. Every day is part of the story. And the people who win are the ones who write their story daily, one choice, one effort, one act of courage at a time. You are not here to shrink. You are here to rise. There's a fire inside you whether you've acknowledged it or not. A part of you that knows you were made for more. Not more applause, not more status, not more things, but more depth, more strength, more contribution, more freedom. But life has a way of trying to dim that fire. It throws pressure, judgment, rejection, and fear your way, hoping you'll play it safe, hoping you'll shrink down just enough to avoid discomfort. Because comfort is easy, and playing small is rewarded in a world that fears its own potential. But you weren't designed to blend in. You weren't built to tiptoe around your greatness. Shrinking might protect you from criticism, but it also robs you of growth. You can't soar while pretending to be small. You can't lead while hiding. You can't impact while second-guessing your voice. Playing small doesn't serve anyone. Not you, not the people you love, not the world that needs what only you can offer. You are not here to apologize for your presence, your power, your ambition, or your vision. You were born with potential pulsing through your veins. But potential is not purpose until you activate it. And activating it requires expansion. It requires you to challenge everything that told you to sit down, stay quiet, stay in your place. It requires you to step into spaces that make you question your worth, not because you're not worthy, but because you've been conditioned to forget that you are. Rising is not about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about aligning who you are with what you do, how you show up, and what you tolerate. Too many people shrink because someone once told them they were too much, too loud, too bold, too intense, too ambitious. So they began to edit themselves, shrink their dreams, lower their standards, mute their voices. But other people's comfort is not your responsibility. You are not too much. You're just in a room that's too small. And it's time to change rooms. It's time to walk into places that reflect your future, not your fears. Your environment should stretch you, not suppress you. If it doesn't challenge you to rise, it's not where you're meant to stay. Every time you choose to rise instead of retreat, you're rewriting your story. Every time you speak up instead of shrinking back, you reclaim a piece of your power. Every time you hold your boundaries, bet on yourself, pursue the path that scares you, you're telling the universe that you're ready. Ready to be seen, ready to be tested, ready to become. Rising isn't about one big leap. It's about thousands of small decisions. To keep going when it's hard, to believe in yourself when no one else does, to trust your instincts, your vision, your gut. It's about owning your uniqueness instead of trying to fit a mold. You weren't meant to be a copy, you were meant to be a force. And forces don't shrink, they expand. They move things, they shake foundation. They break patterns and rewrite rules. And so can you. There will always be voices trying to convince you to play it safe. Voices from your past, your family, your culture, your own insecurities. But safety is not the goal. Growth is. And growth demands space. You can't keep growing in the same container you've outgrown. You have to be willing to make bold moves, to step into uncertainty, to risk failing in the pursuit of becoming. That's not weakness, that's strength. That's leadership. That's ownership of your life. Don't let your potential become a prison because you were too afraid to stretch. The people who rise are not fearless. They're just unwilling to let fear win. They feel it and they move anyway. They understand that shrinking might feel safe, but it's a slow death to the spirit. Rising, on the other hand, is risky, but it's real. It demands effort, but it offers freedom. And that freedom is worth everything. You don't need to wait for a sign, a mentor, a perfect plan. You are the sign. You are the one you've been waiting for. You are the spark that can set your future on fire. But that only happens if you stop playing small. Stop negotiating with self-doubt. Stop making yourself digestible to people who were never supposed to understand you. Start showing up like the world needs you, because it does. Start walking into rooms like you belong, because you do. Start living like you're here to make a dent in the universe, because you are.